Hello, and welcome to Smile TV. I'm Portia Evans, and my very special guest, live in studio with me, a co-worker of mine at Smile, Mr. Gary Castile. Welcome to the show today. It is certainly good to have you here.
And thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. That took some courage, I know.
I,
Yeah,
I really wanted to have you here, Mr. Castile, Gary, so that we could talk about what you do. You are a licensed clinical social worker
that's right.
and affiliated with Smile. A little bit about what you do, who you service,
Okay.
and how people can connect with you
All
if
right.
they need you. I want the audience to know that Smile does not only pay people's light bills,
That's right.
we do a whole lot more at that agency, and we are proud of it. So, Mr. Gary Castile, Mr. Social Worker,
Yes.
what do you do?
I've been doing it for 30 years, doing psychiatric social work, which means mental health, basically. Working in hospitals and day programs, and really, I'm a group therapist.
Okay.
So don't be surprised if I start doing therapy with you. I
Oh,
hope you don't mind.
no, I don't.
So
Maybe I
um,
need a little
yeah.
therapy.
So I was in a prison for 5 years.
Really?
I was director of mental health of a
Which
prison.
has been cut
Yeah.
significantly.
Yeah, true, true. And then I was fortunate enough to get a position at Smile, which is nonprofit. I had never worked nonprofit before, and it is a joy and a luxury to be able to work for a nonprofit because I've always worked to make other people wealthy.
So, how
this-
long have you been with Smile?
It'll be 3 years in September.
Okay.
3 years in September. And Smile kind of uses me as a consultant. I'm a general all-purpose social worker, even though I am a mental health expert and an expert in aging and memory disorders. But Smile sends me people who need assistance in linking up with services and benefits. They send me people who are having mental health issues. And I do the same thing. I evaluate what's going on and then hook them up with the proper service. And I also go into people's homes if they want me to. If the client is unable to get transportation or get a ride to the office, or if they're too disabled and too sick to come into the office, I'll go to them. And
Now, there are a lot of people mentally ill who need their disability. Do you do that kind of thing too?
no, I don't. But that kind of thing they have to do themselves. The patient or the client and their families, they have to do that.
Okay.
And then
But you can steer them
Oh, yes.
in the right direction.
And then if they need to be linked with legal services to get help getting their disability.
Can you diagnose them
Oh, yeah. I
mentally?
can diagnose. I can bill your insurance too, you know?
okay.
So, yeah. So if I think you have a diagnosis, I'll go ahead and start billing, okay? So anyway, yeah, I like going into people's homes because it gives you a better picture of what they're actually going through, how they're living, the environment, maybe meeting family members. I just did a visit this week, actually. I went into a person's home. They were having trouble getting to the office. They wanted to go to the office, make an appointment and do it that way, right? But the client wasn't able. She was too sick, too weak, had arthritis. And so there were 3 generations living in this home. And of course, everybody being very grateful to the grandmother and the grandfather for their disability checks because that's what was keeping the roof over their
Everybody's
heads.
head.
Yes. The son had just got a job. He wasn't making very much money. The wife was not working, and then there was a 4-year-old. So it was 3 generations in this one house, and this family didn't. The 4-year-old did not even have La Chip, Medicaid. And that's one program, that's a really good program.
It is.
That's one program where if you need it, you're going to get it, right? And so that's children's health, children's dental health. So anyway, I hooked him up with La Chip. And then the client that I went to see, I got on the phone and I called Medicaid. And it took an hour, but we got her application in for Medicaid. And she was only 60. So she would actually get Medicaid under the expansion, right? The Medicaid expansion cuts off at age 65 because people get Medicare.
Right.
And so if you have Medicaid, now I haven't heard of Medicaid dropping you once you got Medicare, but they won't give it to you once you have Medicare. So she'll have a five good years where she'll be able to get all of the care she needs.
And you know, it's surprising how many people don't have it.
That's right.
I
They
come
don't
in
have it.
contact with so many people that don't have it.
Right.
And
People who would qualify for it.
Right.
Because it's means tested, it's income tested.
Right.
And they don't know, and a lot of people don't know
How to go about
what they don't know.
Right. They don't know how to go about
They don't know.
getting it. They're asking, where should I go?
And
What
so-
should I do?
So this family is also on the verge of losing their home.
Okay.
They're roughly $8,000 in arrears, and they were working with Chase. Now, you know Chase was not going to bend over backwards
Right.
to help these people modify their loan.
Right.
So what they didn't know was that Smile Community Action has a real estate program.
You're right.
So this program will help people buy their first home.
Right.
It will help people buy another home if they want to sell one and get into another one. This program will help
So
them
it's
do
not
that.
only for first-time home buyers.
No, it's not. And this program is also for people who need loan modification, who have gotten behind in their payments. And so I got on the phone with Kevin at the client's house and told Kevin, it's like, we need to get on this right away. You need to call him. And he said, okay, I'm going to call him today. So I haven't heard, I don't know, but I'm hoping.
I know you come across a lot of social issues.
Oh, a lot. And you'd be amazed at how many issues can be resolved with just a few phone calls. If I have people in my office on speakerphone, I can call agencies and we can find out what the barriers are, what's getting in the way of getting what you need, getting services, getting benefits, what can we do to knock them down, and get you hooked up, get you active
Right.
with what you need. And so you see people who come in, they're in crisis, they're a mess, and then just after a few phone calls, that's all it takes is a few phone calls, and everything's a lot better.
And it makes
You
you
know.
feel better.
Oh, well, yeah. But I've been doing that for 30 years, so, but I also, you learn that you don't take credit for anything, for people improving their lives, right?
Right.
You don't take credit for that.
Now,
They did it.
you have a pet peeve I want to talk a little bit about.
Right.
And that
right.
is-
I've got several pet peeves, and it's not hard to get me up on my high horse talking about them. And since I've been with Smile, again, it's a luxury and a joy to be able to focus on racism and poverty, right? And Community Action just did a symposium on poverty in May, on generational poverty in May. I was on the panel of the symposium. Sarah Brabant was on the panel. Jamal Taylor was on the panel. And Mary Morrison, a school board member, was on the panel. And I thought it was really good. It was really, really good.
So how do we end it?
I
You
mean,
know, because I believe that policy in regards to poverty is systemic.
it
A
is.
lot of this policy is systemic. You know, there are
It is.
laws in place.
Yes.
And people have to follow laws that keep them in poverty. It's the bottom line.
Well, it has a lot to do with neighborhoods. Um, haven't you ever wondered why there's always a poor side of town and a good side of town, right? There's the wrong side of the tracks and then there's the good side of the tracks. Haven't you ever wondered how that happened? What happened there? Why is it now that there's a poor side of town and then there's a middle class and wealthy side of town? Well, it all started way back in the late 20s and early 30s with the New Deal.
Of course.
That's when they started building subsidized housing because they needed housing, right? Strict separation of the races. That was carried over into FHA. When FHA was invented, that was low interest loans for low income people, right? Same rule. Strict separation of the races. And that was carried over until after World War I and the GI Bill when they started building the suburbs.
And then we got
The
to
same thing.
to the New Deal with Clinton or somebody.
Strict separation of the races. That did not end until Martin Luther King. And it didn't end until after his death. 3 months later, after he died, that strict segregation was finally ended. So,
And a lot of times, Gary, I don't know.
but we can go on and on about that because, I mean, the reason I bring up the neighborhood problem is that the schools are not equal. The schools in a poor neighborhood have poor buildings, poor resources, teachers who may not be certified in what they're teaching, whereas the good neighborhoods have the good schools with the good resources and the good teachers, right? So until we can equalize the education system so that there's more equality, more equity, building good schools in poor neighborhoods so that they have access to good teachers, good resources, good computers, good internet, good buildings.
And you have to wonder why a school board tax cannot pass here.
That's right.
You have
That's
to,
right.
you have to really look at it and wonder why.
That tax that recently failed would have improved the quality
Right.
of the school. And people just don't see it. They
But
just
people
don't see it.
one of the things I heard was people don't see building a new school
That's right. And
somewhere else before asking
that's what needs to happen.
for a tax.
And people don't understand that this new voucher system, schools of choice, et cetera, it has really not worked out as far as the equality between the poor and the better to do. Okay, it hasn't worked out. It's actually cemented racism in place. Schools of choice have turned out to be all one race. It's not mixing them. It's not doing anything. So, I mean, I hate to use the term white privilege, but that's what it is. That's what it is. The people who are making the rules, making the policy, making the laws, they're
How do we end it?
They're making sure that they get their white privilege cemented in place.
We've addressed this since I was a young girl.
That's right.
How do we end it?
Well, we can't remodel the neighborhoods. That's fixed. That's written in concrete, right? That's not going to change. But we can improve
Education.
the school system, right? Now, this country is huge. It's a huge country, but it needs to happen from in all 50 states. They need to improve the educational system, make it more equal, so that poor used to be, it was people of color and white people, but after Martin Luther King, it became poor people and the ones who are better off. So we need to equalize access to education. That symposium I talked about was on generational poverty. I was glad to be there because I do not believe in generational poverty at all. I mean, people who do, they believe that a young woman, a young single mom, was taught how to live on welfare by her mom. And then her mom was taught how to live on welfare by her mom. So now we got generations and generations and generations of people. No, I do not buy that. People are people. They want what everybody wants. They want a decent life. They want an education. They want a home. They want to raise their children. They want safety. They're no different. We're back to where we were in the 50s,
Right.
of blaming the victim. We're blaming poor people for being poor. Nobody's looking at the structure of the neighborhoods. That's written in concrete. You grow up in a poor part of town, you're poor for life.
And I said at the onset that it was systemic. A lot of this policy is systemic.
It is.
And
It
I
is.
met a young lady the other day, and she had a chance to get a job. Her, with 6 children, father in jail. He's in jail. Her 6 children. The job paid $7.25 an hour.
That's not a living.
If she took the job, she would lose a lot of benefits. Her food stamps would be cut. Her Section 8 housing would go under. And you wonder why. You say generational, you wonder why.
There's the $15 movement now. You know what? That's not enough either. That's not enough either. We have people now, poor people now, working 2 jobs.
I worked 3, Gary,
3 jobs,
at 64 years old.
and they still can't survive on that. You wonder why do people live in substandard housing? Because they can't do better. That's why they live in substandard housing. So, yes, this problem is huge. We're not going to fix it overnight, but we need to fix the educational system so that, you have a degree. You grew up at some point, somewhere, you realize, hey, I can do better than this. Let me find out what's available to me so that I can move myself forward.
And I tell the story all the time. I bought my first house through programs like the one at Smile.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I encourage people to just learn about the programs, go through them. Great programs that you can go through.
Well, that's right. And, people need to realize that programs are a hand up,
Right.
not a handout.
Not a handout.
Okay? And most people realize that. White people believe that poor people don't understand the rules of rich people's society. That's baloney. They do. They understand the rules. They just know that they're being excluded
Right.
by white privilege. I'm sorry to put it that way, and I'm white or mostly white, but that's just the way it is. All of the policies are geared towards protecting the people in power, protecting
The rich.
the rich, protecting the white. It's all geared towards protecting what's currently in place. And you can't blame them, but at some point, you're going to have to find your heart. I've never seen a government that we have now so heartless and cruel, and they're totally focused on robbing everything from poor people. Why?
A lot of people are going to like you.
I don't care. Look, they've already robbed the middle class.
Right.
What do you think 2008 was all about? The big crash? They had already robbed all of the real estate money. It was all gone. It was a paper shell. It collapsed. That's what that was about. They had already robbed the middle class. Now they're going after what is left, which is benefits, services, money for poor people. And I mean, and don't get me started on the elderly,
Oh,
right? I mean, they're just ignored totally as far as a pocket of poverty that nobody is looking at.
somebody might say, you need to run for office, young man.
And then don't get me started on prison. You know, that is enforced poverty, okay? All these victimless crimes or nonviolent crimes that people are locked up forever,
Forever.
they can't take care of their family. They can't take care of their mama or their grandmother or their auntie.
Or those 6 kids that are
Yeah,
left behind.
they can't take care of any of those
Because
people.
I violated my probation.
And then when they finally get out, nobody
No.
wants to hire them.
Right.
So it's enforced not being able to make a living. And then
Traps.
then they take their vote away. And so they can't even go to the polls and vote for people who might do something for them, right? So, I mean, I guess maybe I'm going to need counseling after this. I'm so depressed now, you know. It's but you can't give up. You have to fight the good fight. I watched Don Quixote, Hombre de la Mancha this morning on a movie, and dream the impossible dream.
And believe you can fly.
Yes, dream the impossible dream that we can have equality, that we can help poor people.
That's our hope.
Yes. And so that's what I love about Smile. Smile has been,
And we get a lot of bad rap.
I know, Smile's been part of the solution for 50 years.
50 years.
Head Start, early Head Start, they are trying to solve poverty. They want to give children a running start in life. And that's what needs to happen. We need children to believe that they can do it. They can pull themselves up. They can pull themselves out of poverty. They can succeed. They can be productive. They can have a decent middle class life.
If you're just joining us, you've been listening to Gary Castile. He's a clinical social worker at Smile Community Action Agency, 501 St. John Street, here in the city of Lafayette. Now, if a person wanted to connect with you, how could they do that?
They can call my desk, 232-6816. Don't dial 233 because that's St. Joseph's Men's Shelter.
Oh, okay.
So it's 232-6816 and leave me a voicemail and I'll return your call. You can call Smile's main number and I will be glad to set up an appointment or come to your house.
Okay. Well, that has been some great information. I love your passion.
Thank you.
And I thank you for what you do for the people of this community. And we are certainly looking forward to connecting some of those people with you. Again, we hear from people every day who don't have a clue and where to go for certain services. You can be that mountain of a resource that's sitting at Smile already. All people have to do is be ready to use you. And I certainly want to thank you for your passion in everything that you do.
And thank
because
you.
it's rare
Thank you so
to
much
meet
for
people
having me.
like you,
Thank you for
to
having
meet
me.
people who have thoughts.
And I'd like to add a little bit, if anybody out there who's watching this wants to give me some guidance or turn me on to information or people, please let me know.
All right, give them that phone number one more time.
Okay, 232-6816.
All right, 232-6816, or just drop by Smile and ask for Gary. That's going to wrap up our show for today. It has certainly been my pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to Smile TV. I'm Portia Evans. Until next time, you be blessed and have a good day. Bye-bye.